Impact on Your Health is sponsored by Dennis J. Courtney, M.D., Director of the Courtney Medical Group, located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray, Pennsylvania. For more information or to make an appointment, call 724-942-3002. That's 724-942-3002 for Dennis J. Courtney, M.D.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to AIM Impact on Your Health. AIM Impact on Your Health, where every day our goal is to have you learn at least one thing to help you live better and longer. AIM Impact on Your Health, why, it's heard every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney, and I'm with you each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9. AIM Impact on Your Health, where each day you'll find current medical news, knowledgeable guests, fascinating health topics, and of course, where we encourage you to call in to join in. Well, today it's Friday. It is a usual get 'em up out of town version of the show, as each and every Friday. A special one, meaning Fridays, that is, that this Friday happens to be, is it's preceding a pretty long weekend and Memorial Day weekend. And so looking forward to a long weekend and an enjoyable weekend myself. I hope that you and your family also has a similar one. As we get on out here, plenty of things unfolded this month here on the show. A lot of pearls, a lot of things we learned together. Today you may want to talk about it. In fact, we're going to open it up all the way for you today. It's full open phones. Anything on your mind is okay with me. I'll be sort of trekking along the month and highlighting for you what were some of the major discoveries and major things that we uncovered for you here, because there were quite a few. But of course, you may have a completely different idea in mind, and that's always okay too. So to take over and to bring us what's on your mind, whether that's in the form of a question or in the form of a comment, the number, as always, will be 412-825-6262. That's 412-825-6262. Now, as far as up-and-coming shows, got to tell you, on Monday, which is Memorial Day, we won't be doing a live show, but we're going to repeat the show of May 12th. Now, that was a show done on one of the major undertakings and pearls that we opened up for you this month, having to do with memory loss, having to do with Alzheimer's, organic brain syndrome, or whatever other synonym that you want to be using for that. And when we opened it up on May 12th, we talked about a product called Prevagen. Prevagen coming from, of all things, jellyfish. And the fact that jellyfish have their own calcium-binding protein. So said Mark Underwood, the discoverer of this amazing substance, and all sorts of science to back them up. It's such a interesting entrance into the realm of the alternative that we talked about it many times over the month, but we're going to repeat it for those of you who may have missed it. I get a lot of discussion from you who I meet out there in the supermarkets and wherever I run into you. This is something that is on your mind. You ask me about it continually. Prevagen is a product we carry here in its professional line. It has a standard retail line also, found in a whole bunch of retail outlets and drugstores. I think I heard Rite Aid and Walgreens. So it's out there. If you see it, you'll know you've heard about it, but you heard about it here. Mark Underwood brought it to us. And that's the show we're going to repeat for Monday in lieu of doing a live show. We'll be turning that page as we next meet up in the month of June. Oh, yes. Things are moving along, ladies and gentlemen, month of June. Still pretty much wide open. We've got to mention, of course, in the month of June, we've certainly plugged it enough. I'm really interested in this gentleman. His name is Dr. Bernardo Lapayo, and he is, well, right now, he's 108. And when it comes to Pittsburgh on the 17th at the Freedom of Choice and Cancer Therapy Group, I believe, seeing the way things are shaped up, this should be their last event for the year. I don't have that mentioned here, but they normally take a break in the summertime. This will be taking place on the third Thursday. That matches up. Third Thursday of the month, up there at the Freedom Choice of Cancer Therapy Group, held at the Days Inn just south of Butler, Route 8. That all matches up. 7 o'clock is the starting time. That matches up. So with everything matching, you're going to have a chance to meet this gentleman, probably explaining what he attributes his longevity and quality of life to. Hopefully, I'll try to get him on the show before he meets with you up there. So we all have a chance to meet him. His name is Dr. Bernardo Lapayo. He's 108. He's going to be 109 on August 17th, almost to the day. One more month after he comes to Pittsburgh. So if you want to scratch that on your calendar. And I think it should be the last guest they have for the year until I think they start him up in September again. Yeah, too much to do. So that's how we got it here going, ladies and gentlemen. Anything on your mind is okay with me. It's open phones. And we're going to open it up to you, 412-825-6262. I can tiptoe through the month because there have been a whole bunch of earth-shattering revelations we've made with respect to the many shows we've done. I'll do that. I'll start traipsing through the month. You may have a special issue in mind. Would it be, would it be the Prevagen with the memory, the ability to retain and regain what may have been lost? Would it be, how about the new test, the 9th test? I had a phone call to the office the other day. The listener, evidently the listener said, I missed the list. And he gave a list. I didn't give a list. But I said the 9th new test is something we introduced on the 24th of the month, talking about small LDL. Hey, how about the fructose connection? We just mentioned that the other day. The list goes on. And Deborah Ray was with us, and we'll talk more about that too. So let's take a short break. When we come back, if you've got a mind to take over early, just give us a knock on the door, 412-825-6262. We'll be waiting to hear it, and we'll let you right on in.
Honey, just got the word. The company's new health plan has a $5,000 deductible. We have to make sure nobody gets sick this year. Remember what those doctor's visits cost for last year's colds and flu? Well, sorry, I've got to go. Love you.
We can do this. We can cut the fast food lunches. Soda, that's a lot of sugar. We could all take that evening walk. And hey, I heard a program about fruit of the spirit. What did they say? 1 ounce, the equivalent of 5 servings of fruits with herbs and minerals. We could add some to our breakfast protein shake. Fruit of the Spirit is a unique whole fruit puree. Fruit of the Spirit contains fresh fruits native to the Holy Land and alkalizing minerals from the Dead Sea. With no added sugars, Fruit of the Spirit is a unique product from 5 years of work from science-based nutritional experts. Call 1-800-442-3793 for a special promotional offer. Fruit of the Spirit, a blessing for your good health. Fruit of the Spirit, convenient, affordable, and delicious. That's 1-800-442-3793. Call them now, 1-800-442-3793.
This is Dennis J. Courtney, MD. Have you become confused about how best to manage your health? It's no wonder. It seems that every time you turn on the television or radio, another expert has yet another suggestion for you to follow that seems to be reasonable enough, but no matter how dutifully you follow the instruction, it just doesn't quite produce the results that you are looking for. If this confusion sounds familiar to you, give us a call at the Center for Complementary Health, where we'll make some sense of the confusion based on a blending of traditional and alternative medicine that we've been perfecting over the last 7 years. We offer metabolic nutrition testing, immune system repair, natural hormone replacement therapy, chelation therapy, cutting-edge allergy correction, and a host of other safe and effective alternative therapies.
Dennis J. Courtney, MD, is located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray. Phone 724-942-3002.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome back once again to AM Impact on Your Health here on this, well, get them up at a time before Memorial Day weekend Friday version of the show. We're opening up for you today. I've got plenty of things on my plate I can serve up because, well, I served them up. These are leftovers. I served them up already once at least over the month, but so earth-shatteringly important are they that they deserve mention again. Of course, anything on your mind is okay to discuss also. So whatever that may be, feel free to give us a call, whether it's on point, one of the points I may raise, or off point, one of the points that you may raise. The number to do that is 412-825-6262. That's 412-825-6262. Now, because well, we have to say we launched this month, in my office at least, a new approach to thyroid problems. And it was a week ago, it was last Friday, when I brought to you a way for many of you, in fact, almost all of you, to take a look at your own thyroid situation. I said at the time, you're probably going to be better off doing that on your own than you are going to be if you have your doctor help you. And I know that causes a little bit of consternation, wondering, oh, what's he talking about, meaning I could do it better on my own. But you can't. And the reason that you can is that you're not going to rely on the blood test, which is what your doctor's going to rely on. And in not doing that, you're going to have a better opportunity to diagnose if you have thyroid issues, in particular hypothyroidism or not. I got to knock at the door, and I'll come back to this if you missed the show from a week ago, or if we're on subject that really is important to you. I'll readdress this in just a few moments when we get back to talking about it again. But let's get our caller. Come on in the store. Hello and welcome aboard. Go right ahead.
Hey, Dr. Courtney, it's Jerry. I'm a long-time listener, but I only get to sporadically. My travel schedule, but
Well, nice to hear you, Kern, again. Go ahead, Jerry.
I don't know if you've done a show or addressed specifically in depth the topic of heart arrhythmias.
Yes.
And I wanted to ask you a question in that regard. I've noticed, I talked to you a long time ago, and I've been to your office regarding, back in 1995, I had a short episode of AFib. And the only time I ever noticed any kind of recurring symptoms or evidence of that is when I'm losing weight. If I'm on, like I recently had to do a physical where I went 12 hours without eating, and I actually ended up going about 4 hours without eating. And so my EKG showed up a little bit irregular, and occasionally I'd feel a skip beat. And I've known, I've repeated that, I've demonstrated that
over and over again, huh?
If I'm on a period where I'm losing weight, I notice occasionally a skip here or there. But if I'm on a period where I've been eating too much and I've been gaining weight, or I'm just eating normally 3 squares a day or so, I don't have any problem.
What? Okay. Well, you're in the car right now, huh, Jer? Oh, we're missing Jer. Anyway, a little bit about arrhythmias, particular AFib, very common arrhythmia. We've brought it up many times here on the show for Jerry, who's listening on his radio, and for you listeners out there who may have similar problems or other members of your family. The approach to arrhythmias is about threefold. One, you've got to have let's put it this way. The electrical activity of the heart is what has gone awry when arrhythmias occur with heartbeats. And so the normal passage of the impulse, the propagation of an impulse through first the atrium, then at the SA node down to the ventricles, all happens in a certain fashion, and this is repeated over and over and over again without incident for years and years and years and years. However, and as we normally would expect, and it does occur, as we age, because we don't find AFib occurring in the very young, we find AFib occurring in the middle-aged and elderly, because with the passage of time, these wires, this electrical activity that has to be propagated, the impulse has to be propagated through these wires are alive. And these wires have to receive the proper nutrients, and they have to be able to remove the waste products away from, bring nutrients to and waste products away from, all the way down to the individual cells of the heart. And over time, the blood vessels, now we can talk about what are the actual components of how atrial fib will occur. Number one, just the mere fact that over time blood vessels don't carry the flow of blood that they normally once did. As the blood flow diminishes, the ability to move nutrients in and out and waste products away from the cells of the heart is diminished. So 1/3 of this three-prong, I guess we'll call it stool, the stool with 3 legs on it, one of the legs is adequate flows, period. And with age, these flows diminish. It's possible to get the flows back. I say doing ECP is one of the best ways to do it, and certainly when people show up in my doorstep, we're going to be talking about ECP as one of the primary rescue maneuvers to get this back. Number 2, getting the appropriate nutrients in. Now, this gentleman mentioned how whenever he's doing weight loss and trying to lose weight, it's only at that time where he begins to notice that he'll say his heart skips a beat. Probably indicative of the fact that he may be having, he could be just having a palpitation, or he could be having a run of AFib, standing for atrial fibrillation, because the nutrients that are required for adequate muscular contraction must be there in the right amount. And even more important than nutrients, which are pretty much easily generated, it's the electrolytes. It is the ionically charged, both positive and negative minerals like magnesium, like calcium, and the like, that better be there in the right quantity too. So that's the second leg of the stool. Third leg of the stool, which over time absolutely plays a large role in how effective the whole entire body works, let alone just the heart contraction component itself, and that is the accumulation of toxic materials within the confines of cellular structures that, okay, at age 15, 20, and 25, and 30, the amount of these toxic components hasn't risen to a level yet where it could compromise a cell's ability to function properly. But certainly by the time we reach middle age and old age, the toxicity issue becomes forever present and forbearing, and it will play itself out. And so the detoxification, removing especially of heavy metals, and in particular things like mercury, like lead, like arsenic, like cadmium, these are the main offensive agents that accumulate to such high levels over time that they can affect how not just the cells of the heart work, they can affect how literally every cell in the body works, but because the heart at each and every beat has a little message to deliver, we can sense and we can feel when the heart contractions aren't occurring in the proper way. And so I hope I've been able to help by presenting you that 3-legged stool. Flow itself, nutrients to the area, and in particular electrolytes, and toxic elements that can build up within the structures of cells over a lifetime that will ultimately weigh in. This is for sure, that you won't get out of this good world without having all this weigh in. If you have a deficiency or because of lack of nutrients, for a while your body can develop a different shunt, different pathway in order to get the job accomplished, but only for a while. A day will come when you won't be able to use a shunt or another pathway, and that all the pathways are so gummed up that it's going to affect whatever organ we're talking about looking for proper functioning. In this case, it was the heart. Secondarily, the accumulation of toxic elements within the cell will have to weigh in too. We won't leave this good earth until these toxic elements do weigh in. And blood flows, which unfortunately have been just understood as to automatically occur with age, and I say unfortunately because it is not the case, actually can be rectified and turned around. And I think providing the vehicle to get more nutrients in and other toxic elements out could be the common denominator to bring all 3 of these legs of the stool within check, within reason, and get people established once again correctly on the right path. I hope that I broke that down accordingly. Let's do this and take another short break. I always like when we take a break because you decide, well, you know what, I got a little bit of a break here. Let me give them a call. Well, give us a call. we're interested in what's on your mind. I'll continue a little more with the thyroid discussion when we return about how it is that you're going to be making a major medical decision on your behalf, but I think you can do it better. And we'll talk about it in a moment.
Have you been to the doctor lately? Was fatigue top of your complaint list? Even if your doctor asks you what you eat, the recommended 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day is a dream in your busy schedule. What if you learned of a product 5 years in the formulation that delivers 5 servings of fruits and minerals in just 1 ounce? That's right, it's Fruit of the Spirit. The blessings of Fruit of the Spirit are now formulated into a delicious whole fruit puree product rich in antioxidants and minerals. Your health is more than just a test result. It's a balance of physical, spiritual, and emotional factors. You work regularly to strengthen your faith, but Fruit of the Spirit help cover your nutritional needs in a convenient and cost-effective ounce a day. Call 1-800-442-3793 for a special promotional offer. Fruit of the Spirit, a blessing for your good health. Fruit of the Spirit, 5 servings of fruits and minerals with no added sugars. That's 1-800-442-3793 for your good health. Call them now, 1-800-442-3793.
This is Dennis J. Courtney, MD. You become confused about how best to manage your health. It's no wonder. It seems that every time you turn on the television or radio, another expert has yet another suggestion for you to follow that seems to be reasonable enough, but no matter how dutifully you follow the instruction, it just doesn't quite produce the results that you are looking for. If this confusion sounds familiar to you, give us a call at the Center for Complementary Health, where we'll make some sense of the confusion based on a blending of traditional and alternative medicine that we've been perfecting over the last 7 years. We offer metabolic nutrition testing, immune system repair, natural hormone replacement therapy, chelation therapy, cutting-edge allergy correction, and a host of other safe and effective alternative therapies.
Dennis J. Courtney, MD, is located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray. Phone 724-942-3002.
Good morning. Welcome back. We're here on our Friday version of the show, a pre-Memorial Day show, or pre-Memorial Day weekend coming up here as we depart this Friday. And we'll be coming back and talk to you live until next Wednesday, Monday being the day it's celebrated. And as we normally do on Fridays, keep it upbeat, allowing you many times, and today certainly is one of those times, to come on in and set the agenda if you'd like. Whatever on your mind is okay with me. 412-825-6262 will allow you to come on in and ask your question or make your comment. While we wait for that to occur, I wanted to finish up talking to you about what I introduced 1 week ago, talking about thyroid. It just displays itself in my office with the patients that I see, especially females. It is prevalent. It is replete in western Pennsylvania, and that is an issue of hypothyroid. Now, I understand there are conditions of hyperthyroidism that are a little bit different, but by far, and in the largest numbers, it's hypothyroidism that plagues our populations, and in particular our women. So I say, if you are the unfortunate, here's what I mean by unfortunate. If you are so sick that with thyroid disease that you've actually had lab analysis that will reveal that you are hypothyroid, you are unfortunately so sick that you fortunately are going to be able to have that detected by your doctor. The lab results are going to reveal it. And sort of good luck for you, because I'll tell you what, the highest percentage of people have normal lab tests, but still have hypothyroidism. And those are the unfortunate ones, because once the doctor has obtained the blood testing, and it looks to him as though things are normal, and by the numbers that are all taught in medical school, yeah, it certainly does look normal, but clinically, this person's got every symptom, 20, 30 different symptoms, and they just look right by them. And so the unfortunate individuals are those who have normal lab tests, but definitely are not normal. They're quite ill, they're quite sick, And it's just unfair that they're going to be consigned to having a lifetime worth of misery because of a lab test snafu. So I say you, and I told you last week, and a week ago, that you are the better to be able to judge. You know how lousy you feel. I went through a list of symptoms, and rather than going through that list of symptoms today, I'm just going to charge you with the objective finding of your body temperature is going to be a better gauge of what the status of your thyroid is than the lab tests will be. And I know that sounds a little bizarre, but as crude and as unsophisticated as you might think temperatures, basal body temperatures are, they're a better measure on the long run than the actual blood tests themselves. And so I encourage you, if you missed me last Friday, but you're listening this Friday, and if you're thinking, my God, I feel lousy, my hair's really, I'm losing hair, I'm constipated, I'm going down to this list on my mind. I'm constipated, I'm fatigued, I get tired all the time, I have an intolerance to cold, my hands are always cold, my feet are always cold, I'm wearing sweaters in the middle of summer, the list goes on and on and on. Well, check your basal body temperature, get up in the morning. Before you allow those feet to hit the floor, you need to measure that body temperature in its basal state, meaning at its lowest point that it's going to be all day. And that's going to be upon arising in the morning before you start moving. So take those basal body temperatures. The only age group that will have a little bit of difficulty with this are premenopausal females, because as long as women have cycles and are ovulating, there's a slight spike in temperature right at the time of ovulation, which would give an erroneously high reading and can't be utilized. So for premenopausal women, you're going to have to do this a number of days, if especially it's around the mid-cycle between days 12, days 14, and things like this. But postmenopausal female and all males, there is no caution or concern about taking your temperature. You'll need just but a few. And now I'm giving you the answer to the query. Okay, so what's the temperature supposed to be? The temperature is supposed to be found in the high 97s or the low 98s. The walking around normal body temperature, I think everybody pretty much realizes 98.6. But that's the walking around normal body temperature. That's when you're up and you're moving. And the day moves on. 98.6 is what a full engine that's moving is going to heat up to. But in its basal state, upon arising in the morning, when the engine is merely on its slow idle, we won't have achieved the levels of 98.6 at that point. They are considerably lower, and high 97s and low 98 is where you're going to find yourself trying to head to, and you're going to find it so oftentimes, especially with the ladies, they're not going to be close. They usually find themselves in the 96s, for goodness sake. So if in fact you find that that's the case with you, you need to do something about it. You can have a discussion with your doctor if that ends up as being an exercise that frustrates you and the doctor. Go on in and see us here. We this month launched the use of Cytomel or T3, straight T3, and treating it, and we are getting results, and it takes as little as 42 days. 42 days is all we need to get this thyroid up and going, and that seems like a minor amount of time. And it really is when you consider how miserable one could be with all the symptoms that come along with thyroid disease. So, and enjoyed bringing that to you a week ago. Nice to hit it again today, and hope you enjoy hitting that again with me. Now, a little over a week ago, we also hit the interesting the 9th test. Okay, you've heard how many different times when I have brought to, it's usually about 3 or 4 times a year, when I bring to you, I go, okay, we're going to do the discussion of the 8 lab tests that you have to have in order to be able to appreciate where you stand with your cardiovascular risks. And so I go through that list each and every time that I do. The number is 8. And every time I've given you that list, I said, you know what? One day, and it'll kind of happen, there'll be a 9th test. In fact, another day there'll be a 10th test. As of right now, though, as I had said in the past, there are only 8 additional lab tests that can be obtained in order to find out your cardiovascular risk. Well, if you were listening and you were paying attention, within the last week, you heard me say that we now have the 9th test. And the 9th test is on the particle size of LDL. It's a brand new test because medical science has allowed us to appreciate what that means when you have a large quantity, a large number of small-sized LDL particles. There's a special lab test that can be ordered that is able to discern that your LDL, of what makes up your LDL level. Now, you know LDL is your bad cholesterol, especially when taken in context with HDL, which is your good cholesterol. And up till now, LDL is just measured as that, LDL. And the normal ranges that have been set by medical science, they say, is between 0 and 99. And if you're over 99, you'll find a pretty large effort on the part of your doctor to try to get that lower by using the famous statin drug approach. Now, it is true that if you have an elevation in LDL, you got to do something about it. And so it is the intention of the conventional medical community to lower it. But this component of LDL, if it isn't oxidized, won't harm you. It's only if LDL is oxidized to begin with where harm can occur. And so the way to treat this, instead of using statin drugs, as we have espoused over many, many years here, is to use antioxidants to prevent LDL from oxidizing. Well, we've worked on that concept for years now, but now there's a new concept. They're actually able to take apart the total LDL level and break it up into its component parts. There are 5 different particle sizes of LDL, and that was not known before. It is known now, and what's also known is the smallest of these components, or small LDL, is now a new factor in determining your cardiovascular risk, because these small LDL components can work their way through little holes found in between the cells and gain entrance into the membrane and into the cell and cause havoc and a lot of damage. So a new test that won't be asked for by your doctor, by the way. Remember, when we were ordering the 8 lab tests, we said that your doctor will order 1 of the 8 and won't get the other 7. Well, now I guess it should be said that he will continue to order 1 of the 9 and not get the remaining 8 tests, simply because, as was mentioned to you before, the doctors do not have any medicine that can change the course of events when it comes to the other 7. They only have one to deal with 1, which is your cholesterol profile and your LDL and the like. So anyway, new concept, new test. It's been added on, by the way, in my offices when we do our workups, and I highly recommend that many of you get a major league cardiovascular workup here at our office. One of the things that gets done is all 9 lab tests are going to be obtained, and we're going to have a discussion of them. There may not be a medicine to control all 9 of them, but there certainly are vitamins, minerals, herbs, and the like that will, and that's where patients who come to see me really want to be anyway. They don't want to take medicines, and if they're on them, they normally want to get off. So there you have it. The new 9th test, the size of LDL in particular. The new question now, what is your small LDL level? I guess that's the new way of putting it. What is the small LDL level? Do you know? Well, I don't think you do, but it is easy enough to know. And that's the story on the 9th test that we revealed this month. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, what's on your mind? I keep on picking out things that we brought to you this month. We brought so much. What's on your mind of all that we brought to you, or something that just was on your mind, period, without us bringing it to you. Be back in a moment. Hope to hear from you.
Want to help your family eat healthier? Instead of learning to disguise tofu in wondrous ways, how about some real nutritional power? If your family has the typical American palate for fries, pizza, and burgers, giving your family the blessing of good nutrition is a struggle. Fruit of the Spirit is the answer for your family's nutritional needs. Fruit of the Spirit is an all-natural, whole fruit puree made from fresh fruits native to the Holy Land with alkalizing minerals. Fruit of the Spirit was 5 years in the formulation, the work of a team of top nutritional experts with independent science to confirm its antioxidant power. 1 ounce a day provides the equivalent of 5 servings of fruits and minerals. Fruit of the Spirit is convenient, affordable, and delicious. Even your picky family will sing the praises of Fruit of the Spirit. Give your loved ones the blessing of good nutrition. Call 1-800-442-3793 for a special promotional offer. Fruit of the Spirit, a blessing for your good health. That's 1-800-442-3793. Call them now, 1-800-442-3793.
This is Dennis J. Courtney, MD. Have you become confused about how best to manage your health? It's no wonder. It seems that every time you turn on the television or radio, another expert has yet another suggestion for you to follow that seems to be reasonable enough, but no matter how dutifully you follow the instructions, it just doesn't quite produce the results that you are looking for. If this confusion sounds familiar to you, give us a call at the Center for Complementary Health, where we'll make some sense of the confusion based on a blending of traditional and alternative medicine that we've been perfecting over the last 7 years. We offer metabolic nutrition testing, immune system repair, natural hormone replacement therapy, chelation therapy, cutting-edge allergy correction, and a host of other safe and effective alternative therapies.
Dennis J. Courtney, MD, is located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray. Phone 724-942-3002.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back once again to AIM Impact on Your Health here on this Friday. Get 'em up out of town version of the show. We're allowing you to come on in if you got a mind to and sort of take charge and find out what you want the answers to, or just make any comment you'd like to. The number to do so is 412-825-6262. We'll listen for your knock on the door and let you right on in the store. Should mention, because, well, this month we did bring her to you, talking about Deborah Ray. Deborah Ray was with us. She was with us on the 17th of May, talking about her new book. The book is called Harmony. It's written in collaboration with 2 medical doctors, Dr. John Young and Dr. Aida Reyes. This book is available in our office. Come on in and get a free copy of the book. I'll be happy to give you a free copy. They sent us quite a few of them to do just that. And in the process, get a taste of this marvelous substance called Fruit of the Spirit that we've been talking about because of Deborah, all the way, I think, last November is when she first brought it to us. So Fruit of the Spirit here in the office, you'll get a free sample of that, get a free book, learn more about Fruit of the Spirit, these 14 biblical fruit purees, alkalinizing minerals from the Dead Sea, resveratrol, frankincense, myrrh, and, the equivalent of 5 servings of fruits and vegetables in just 1 ounce. Here, knock on the door. Come on in the store. Hello and welcome aboard. Hi there.
Hi, Dr. Courtney.
Hi.
Hi, I had a quick question for you, sort of regarding the thyroid issue. I've heard that if you do have the thyroid deficiency, you should avoid the cruciferous vegetables like cauliflower, cabbage family. But I have been doing some reading on my own on the computer.
Okay.
And I've actually found that the cruciferous vegetables actually help to support a low thyroid.
So do I. Yeah, I was wondering. Absolutely. Now, I find the cruciferous vegetables to be quite supportive of a healthy thyroid.
Okay.
And I don't seem to have the negative connotation that you got left with, and I don't know where you got it. Was you should stay away from them, you know? And
yeah, your predecessor, I shouldn't say predecessor, the next person who comes on, who I get, everybody gets a lot of information from. He always has said from time to time that you have low thyroid, you should stay away from cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli, that type of thing. But like I said, I started researching it, and it's actually the opposite.
I think that I'm with you on that. The second way to look at it. This thyroid, boy, I know you have thyroid issues, don't you?
Yeah.
Personally, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you get along with? Do you take thyroid medication yourself?
Yeah, I'm on the. I've been on Armour for like the last 15 years, off and on. And like I think I've mentioned before, it has served me well. It's just within the last 2 years, it's kind of been, I don't know, different. And I don't think the fact that it was taken off the market, for a little while, I had to go on the nature sword, which was, I guess, pretty similar.
Yeah, it's pretty similar. It's a 50-50 combination of T3 and T4. And
for some reason in me, there's a discrepancy between the T3 and the D4, like there's a big disparity between them. But the blood levels look okay, but like I said, I do believe in the basal temperatures and the questionnaires. Like I said, I remember going to another physician's office, and like you said, every time he would back it up with blood work, but he would always, as soon as you went in, your appointment, you did that questionnaire.
yeah, to find out clinically how you're feeling.
How you're doing, yeah. And
sure.
I fully believe in those.
Absolutely. Do you happen to, just as a final thing, happen to know where you stack up with respect to your basal body temperature?
I haven't done it for a while, but I was on the low end. I was like 96.9, 97.3.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even remember.
Well, it's all is a snapshot in time. It's certainly worthwhile to go back and take a look. I've pretty much come down to just embrace the fact that unless your basal body temperatures, crude as it may sound, are within normal range, then your thyroid hasn't been completely adjusted correctly. So even at this late date, hey, check it. And if it's not in the high 97s or low 98s, then there needs to be some sophistication with respect to your thyroid medicine to bring you in. Once that basal body temperature comes up, that means that everything else should be working well too. And I know you're so adept at knowing how you stand. I know you follow your own particular progress and how you feel very well. Yet if you don't know how excellent is, you don't have a measure by which so if you're feeling lousy, you don't know anything other than being lousy. How would you know how you're supposed to feel? You said basal body temperature.
Actually, I think the basal temperatures, like you said, were low 97s, yeah.
Yeah, okay, well,
they weren't 96.
That's right. Check it out again, and I will say that the new round of approach to this is, because I was not happy with how Armour and Nature's Thyroid over the long haul, I was not happy with how well it was helping my ladies who I put it on. But now that we're switched around and we're using straight T3, which is Cytomel, which is, one thing for sure, temperatures start to come up. People start to have the feelings that they should have because that is biologically active immediately at getting into the bloodstream. There's no T4 involved at all. It's all T3.
Okay.
Okay?
And then one more comment.
Sure.
I don't know if anybody's been to Right by Nature lately, but I've been a little bit disappointed.
What's going on down there?
Well, the good apples have taken over. You know how they, I guess, got them to, share some of the shelf space over there. And it seems like now they're carrying Hershey bars and chocolate bars and Kit Kat bars and M&Ms.
No.
And, it's sort of contradictory to, I think, the Right by Nature's whole theme,
Did you mention it to them? They're very receptive to comments. And
yeah, I didn't actually.
Well, I'll mention it to them. I usually get on there at least once a month. And I guess, hey, I don't know this, but I'm guessing that the Firehouse Market is going to be open now, too. Should be. Okay. I'll see you down there.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Absolutely. Great. I always love hearing from that listener. And let a word to the wise be sufficient about there. I mean, this is a young lady who had her thyroid issues diagnosed quite a while ago. And still, there are questions, and I think they're fair questions, on what is your actually thyroid status, and not getting content with, well, I'm on thyroid medicine. Yeah, but it doesn't necessarily have to be able to provide you what you need to correct your thyroidism. Tough to think that I'm taking a medicine that may not be helping me, but that's exactly and unfortunately what's happening all too frequently. Another knock on the door. Come on in the store. Hello and welcome in.
Good morning, Dr. Courtney.
Hi.
Yes, what Kathy was talking about Right by Nature, and I did ask them what was going on.
Okay, and what did they tell you?
Well, they told me they're still going to try to accommodate people getting the organic, but the way the woman talked, it didn't sound really too good, because I've been there since the day they first opened up every week, and it just didn't sound good.
You know what? I didn't see that myself yet. I guess there must be a major turn of events. If you are noticing it that much, and the other caller felt that there was just an atmosphere that didn't seem right, they're going to do damage to themselves and the image that they once had. Because people who went to Right by Nature went there for the specific reason of getting the organic and to eat healthy. This is a lot different than my local Giant Eagle, where they just took, within the last 5 months, the section that was organic, they broke it up, and everything that's organic is still in there, but it's all scattered throughout the entire store. I've lodged my objection to the head of my store. Don't know how effective it's going to be. Or I said, hey, it was nice and easy before I came in here. I knew exactly where I could get the organic stuff. Now you went and made this completely difficult for me. I can't do the job easy. I got to go throughout your entire store. And what they're doing there is trying to get people to start thinking organic that never thought that way before. Well, in Right by Nature, they don't need to have people think conventional, because they're going to Right by Nature to be not just thinking organic, but to buy organic. So I'll mention it too. I'll bring it to their attention, maybe in a little different way, but it's not a good sign. I thank you and the previous caller for bringing it up, so we can all, hey, those are listeners out there that go to Right by Nature, log it in, let them know how you feel. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Courtney.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, we've got enough places we can get Hershey bars. I didn't realize that's what was going on now. And isn't it time for the Firehouse Market? Should be. I'll be taking a look when I'm down there. Maybe even this weekend, Memorial Day week. What's on your mind, folks? 412-825-6262. We'll get you on in here, 412-825-6262. Got to mention, even though it's from last month, we still get a lot of interest. Callers from you callers calling in, and also people that stop me on the issue of clot busting, which we really introduced last month. Not introduced it, but finally got to the point where we could become objective and quantify, and what made one clot buster more advantageous than another. Now, instead of talking in code, let's just get right to it. There are mild clot busters that are available in the unconventional realm, completely safe, by the way. There are two. There have been two for quite some time. One that seemingly everybody knows about, and that's called nattokinase, and another one that not too many people knew about at all, but they're gaining more and more awareness of it. It's called Beluca lumbrokinase. Now, these are mild enzymes that help break up clots. Nattokinase comes from fermented cheese. Beluca lumbrokinase comes from earthworms. Anyway, I have for years and years carried the Beluca line in my office, and I haven't carried the nattokinase line. And the reason that I didn't was friends of mine, colleagues of mine, were influential enough with me that they said, hey, there's no comparison between the effectiveness of the Beluca when compared to the natto. And that's pretty much the way it's remained with me, just having those people who I deeply respect let me know that the better of the two products, in their opinion, was Beluca. But it was always an opinion, never any concrete, hard science information to back up that assertion. Well, that was until last month, when I uncovered some paperwork where finally there was a way to objectively compare how well each of those two clot busters, nattokinase and beluca-lumbrikinase, how well they worked. Because it turns out there's a unit of clot-busting activity called a TPA unit. Now, I'm getting more medical on you than to say the TPA stands for tissue plasminogen activator. And oh my God, I'm sorry. They're just throwing that out there. TPA units are units of how well things do break up clots. Because that's what TPA is. TPA is your body's own natural clot buster. Okay, with that stage being set, I'll now reveal to you once again what I revealed last month, which is when they finally analyzed these two substances in their clot-busting ability, it turns out that 1 milligram of beluca-lumbrikinase has the equivalent of 120,000 TPA units. Now, you don't necessarily know what TPA is, and very difficult for you to appreciate what a unit, the TPA unit is, but just look at the mode of comparison, and I think the point will come across. Because they were able to compare the TPA activity in beluca to the TPA activity in natto, and as it turns out, when 1 milligram of nattokinase has 12,000 TPA units worth of clot-busting activity. 120,000 for the beluca, 12,000 for the natto. So in terms of clot-busting activity, what I was originally led to believe from my colleagues and my friends turns out to be absolutely right on, scientifically verifiable, and backed up by objective testing. And so I passed that on to you last month. You responded, and many of you we have seen here, we carry the beluca line, we don't carry the natto line. We just feel that, you know, if you want to stay with the natto, that's fine. You can probably get that at the majority of health food stores that there are out there, but very few do carry the actual beluca. And there's only one company that makes the beluca. It's a Canadian research company, and that's where we have to get it from. When we have to reload it, we have to contact Canada to get our dosage down. So anyway, clot busting, objective analysis was front and center last month. Just bringing it up once again because it's still such a doggone important concept, because clot busting is something, mild clot busting is something that is very beneficial to all. Major league clot busting, well, the conventional medical community certainly has one. Have a few, by the way. One is called TPA, one is called urokinase, another called streptokinase. These kinases do really, literally burn a hole through the clot, but they're only to be used in emergency situations. They're to be used during an actual event and within the first 2 hours of that event. So if someone's having a heart attack right now, for instance, and they wind up in an emergency room in an outlier hospital, the protocol is to administer intravenously one of those three, okay? TPA, streptokinase, or urokinase. But because the event is going on right now, they can justify utilizing such harsh materials, harsh substances, because that's really what is needed at that moment. But the mild side of things, over time, certainly not during any event, but in order to literally prevent any event, that's a different matter. And the use of either natto or lumbro should be, or beluca-lumbrikinase should be what your decision has to be. And however you decide, well, that's okay with me. I always like to give you the information to make that decision a appropriate one, at least scientifically appropriate. Okay. What else? Hey, just the other day, just Wednesday, we brought a new concept. We'll expand upon this as time moves on, and it is this connection, an interesting connection I went to the Mercola website, one of the listeners mentioned, and sure enough, Joe had a pretty good description of the sugar/fructose connection. And we brought that to you on Wednesday. Turns out that this fructose, where if we turn a label around and we read high fructose corn syrup, we see this all the time. We would know that that particular material is something we probably wouldn't want to purchase. We don't want to ingest it. We don't want our children to ingest it because of the high fructose corn syrup content, which I think we all pretty much recognize as not being very healthy at all. And that's the way it was left, at least until the other day, when Mercola brought up, and I guess this is happening because of the work of Dr. Richard Johnson, who is a medical doctor who is now moving around the planet giving various lectures on this subject on how harmful fructose actually is. And we brought this to you just on Wednesday, where fructose is now shown to be involved with the increased production of uric acid. And with that increased production of uric acid, all sorts of interesting things can happen. Kidney disease, insulin resistance, increase in triglycerides, LDL, the like, as well as high blood pressure. So we introduced the concept to you on Wednesday. We'll come back and we'll hit it again, because not only is it important, evidently, to do what we had done before, which was to make certain that we didn't consume certainly anything that had been labeled high fructose corn syrup, but the fructose content of anything that we ingest needs to be considered. That was the new concept that one should be asking now. What is the fructose content of whatever it is you're ingesting? And turned out table sugar, which I know is something that I really don't use in my house. Maybe you don't use it in your house, but just to try to come down to a common denominator, table sugar is made up of two different sugar molecules. One is, it's called sucrose, by the way, table sugar, but it's composed of a glucose component and a fructose component. And we'll let it go with that. Talking about it. We want to come back in, of all things, June. See you in June. You have a great weekend. It is that Memorial Day weekend kickoff signaling right now. Enjoy our repeat show on Monday, and I'll see you on Wednesday. Until then, this is Dr. Dennis Courtney saying so long for AM Impact on Your Health.
AM Impact on Your Health is sponsored by Dennis J. Courtney, M.D., Director of the Courtney Medical Group, located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray, Pennsylvania. For more information or to make an appointment, call 724-942-3002. That's 724-942-3002 for Dennis J. Courtney, M.D.